One of the fan favorites for the Houston Texans, one of the lone bright spots from the offense last year, and one of the funniest, most country dudes that you'll ever hear from. Dameon Pierce joined the show. Let's hear what he had to say about the football stuff and the non-football stuff in another edition of The Locker Room.
Yeah. It's The Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game.
Dameon Pierce, a lot of expectations for the Texans' second-year running back this year. Now, what do those expectations look like? Dameon Pierce last year, he got a lot of carries, and he really didn't have a lot of help. We've heard DeMeco Ryans, the Texans head coach, talk about Dameon Pierce perhaps being part of a committee. Is that what we're going to see? And what does Dameon Pierce himself think about that? He joined me live on the practice field, straight at the 50-yard line, straight after he was at the podium on In the Loop, Sports Radio 610, which is where you can hear me 10 to 2 Monday through Friday Central, 10 to 2 Central on the Odyssey app and on Sports Radio 610. And that's also where you can find the best radio coverage for the Houston Texans. The best digital coverage is right here in the Locker Room, which has been going for less than a year. And it is the number one source for Texans daily digital content. Appreciate everyone for coming through. I'm Landry Locker, and I enjoy and I look forward to keeping you updated on this Texans team. Dameon Pierce, there's been a lot of discussion about if Dameon Pierce maybe needs to have the workload ease down a little bit. I'm one of those guys who thinks so. I think you need to keep him fresh. You need to get some sort of 60-40 split or something like that. Giving him the ball 25 times a game, I don't think it's good for him. I don't think it's good for them. And I want to see Dameon Pierce around for a while. So I would like to see that come down. Before we hear what Dameon Pierce thinks about that, let's hear Dameon Pierce talking about the scheme. This is Dameon Pierce talking about Bobby Slowick's scheme and how it fits his violent running style.
Not too different. We just got our tight ends and fullbacks moving around a lot more. Last year it was more and have the fullback offset, but we got to wear our fullback and tight end are basically the same position. Yeah. We got our fullbacks out on routes like T. Roy last year, Troy Harrison last year. So we're probably running more routes than he ever has in his life. Yeah. He's loving that. He's like, man, I get the ball more. So getting those guys more involved. We got multiple looks. It's just fun. It's just fun to run off of because keep the defense on their toes, keep the defense thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Harrison converted to fullback last year, so he's definitely running more routes than he has in his entire life. It's a matter of how they're going to use those guys. But if you follow this Texans team, going back to O'Brien and with Pep Hamilton and with Tim Kelly, when you hear pre-snap motion and you hear about guys moving around and stuff like that, it's music to your ears because this has been one of the most uncreative, unimaginative offensive systems that we've seen in a long, long time. He did say it's not that much different. Maybe not for him, but there's definitely a little bit of a difference for this offense. It will be interesting to see how they handled that. What about the vibes? So full disclosure, there were probably about 2,500 people at practice. There were people waiting there at 4:00. Shout out to all the people that came by and said hi at the broadcast. Dameon Pierce, he can feel those vibes. Just listen to him laugh when we talk about it. This is myself, my co-host John Lopez, talking to Dameon Pierce about just the vibes, the feel. You can feel it.
The difference is everybody feels that. Last year it was kind of low. We had to create our own energy, but like you said, the energy here for us to feed off of, you know what I'm saying? So it's, it's easier on us. So we can just focus on like the football aspect. We ain't got to worry about, man, we got to bring some juice today. But like, not saying we don't have to bring juice on the field because,
but you get it.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a whole lot easier when you're getting it from the fans and got that big season coming up and you like, all right, man, great things are happening. I'm just making sure I'm ready for when the time comes. I'm prepared. Yeah. So that's really what it is. Everybody on the same mindset, bro. We just trying to make sure like when the season starts, we're ready to go and hit this thing rolling and finish better than we started.
Yeah, the vibes, it's you can't even really explain how much better the vibes are and how excited people are. And that's because of one guy. It's because of DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans is the reason for that. We can talk about draft picks. We can talk about all that, but it's about DeMeco Ryans. And DeMeco Ryans is the people's choice. And DeMeco Ryans is an interesting dude because I just don't – he's kind of like the All-American guy. And we all have buddies who are like the All-American guy. DeMeco kind of has that vibe. Dameon Pierce, here's him talking about DeMeco.
I feel like if Coach DeMeco was a position coach, he would be. Yeah. But, that head guy job, you know, he probably last thing he's thinking about is a joke. He like, man, what these guys do. His clock always ticking, you know what I'm saying? So, coach, but like he definitely has his moments though. He's definitely a player coach. He understands what we're going through. He try to make it easy on us whenever he can.
DeMeco's the kind of guy like you want as a teammate, but like if you're at a party or something like that in college and he walks in, you put your drink down.
You're like, oh, man.
Oh yeah, time to go home. Time to go home.
Here come the police.
Gotta hang out.
Party police, baby.
Yeah, I 100% could see that with DeMeco. You're at a college party. You probably just did a keg stand. He walks in. I'm going to sneak out the back door. Hey, what's up? It's not like you don't want to be around him, but you want to be on your best behavior around DeMeco. Let's get into the workload now. It is the most polarizing thing. By the way, subscribe, like, right along. The workload is something that is very, very important when we're talking about Dameon Pierce. Here is Dameon Pierce talking about the workload, how many carries, etc.
As a professional, as you would say, as a professional, I feel like my carries translate to that game that day. Yeah. If we snatching them, give me 30. You know what I'm saying? 30 for 300. If it's an off day, give me 10 for 35. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much off the floor of the game. And coaches do a good job. Our coaches do a good job of filling that out and knowing when to back it down, go back, utilizing us in the pass game more than the run game. Just keeping them honest in the run game. We're not just going to abandon it, you know what I'm saying? But, our coaches do a good job of eyeballing that. If we hot that day, we will keep them cars rolling, I'm sure.
Okay, there we go. Dameon Pierce on the workload. What about the expectations? What are your expectations for the Texans? 7 wins, 9 wins, 5 wins, 4 wins less. What are your expectations for the Texans? Dameon Pierce kept talking about expectations, so finally, we asked Dameon Pierce about those expectations, and this is what he had to say about that.
Well, first and foremost, stay healthy. Yeah. If I'm not healthy, if I'm not available, I can't go out and do things I want to do. So make sure I'm healthy and available, and getting those guys up front involved as much as I can, keeping those guys going, because ultimately my success is based off how well we mesh together and how in tune we are, how in sync we are, and taking CJ up under my wing. If CJ ever asks me anything, if I know it, I try to help him. I ain't the offensive coordinator, so I can't tell him about the routes and stuff. But if it's something I can help him with, I help him with. But CJ's coming along very well, great kid. He's growing into his leadership role, and I'm just excited to see what he does this year. Yeah. And I'm there to take that stress off of him. He ain't got to worry about going for 4,000 yards. Now you got DP in the backfield with you, baby.
Lopez sounds like a damn freestyle hype man during audio sometimes. Yeah. Come on, let the man talk, man. Jump in. But, and it's a lot of yes. Feels like you remember when you freestyle back in the day and someone throws a line, yeah, just spitting that fire. Shout out to the OG, John Lopez. Dameon Pierce got jokes. The personality is, you like the way he plays, but the personality, country as hell, is how I describe him. Dameon Pierce has got plenty of that. So let's cap off this Dameon Pierce session with a little bit of humor. This is Dameon Pierce talking about the Heat.
Hey, nah, man, South Georgia, baby, man. I raised out the door with my shoes off, so that's my. Hey, if I ain't have cleats on, I go out there with my bare feet, I'll be right at home.
Go out there with your bare feet. I would be right at home. South Georgia, right there, without any shoes. Speaking of shoes, Dameon Pierce, someone showed me this. Shout out to the person who showed me this, the subscriber who showed me this. His uncle was wearing some knockoff Jordans at a barbecue. It was a couple of months ago before camp started, and I asked Dameon Pierce about that. This is what Dameon Pierce had to say.
Speaking of Instagram, what was up with your uncle's shoes? Was that your uncle or what? He was wearing the Air Gordons.
Hey man, I said Michael Jordan, they never did that move.
Y'all were roasting him for those shoes.
Michael Jordan ain't never did that move. And finally, Dameon Pierce, the insight, the comedy, and the hardo. He had to go complete hardo on me. Listen to Dameon Pierce. You know, a lot of players are playing Madden, although Dalton Schultz, Madden isn't nerdy enough for his taste. Shout out to Dalton. Fun conversation with him earlier this week as well on the practice field. But this is Dameon Pierce talking about Madden. I didn't know if he played or not. I didn't know we were going to go this hardo.
Nah, bro, I'm on Madden. I play Madden in real life, man.
Oh, here goes the hardo right here. Dameon Pierce, the hardo. It's like a doctor. No, I don't watch ER. I'll live it. I'll live it.
Yeah, Dameon Pierce. Very easy to like. Very, very intriguing. I do wonder what that workload's going to be. He's looked great so far, but it's really going to be his time to shine when the pads come on, which happens very, very soon. It actually happens tomorrow. So we will get a look at Dameon Pierce in pads. We'll find out what he's working with, and he is foaming at the mouth for that to happen. Appreciate everyone for coming through. This is another edition of the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans daily digital content. Subscribe, like, right along. Appreciate you for coming through. It's going to be a fun Sunday. The pads are coming on. CJ Stroud's going to speak, as is Tank Dell. Don't know if you're supposed to know that, but that's the type of information you get when you come in here. Talk to you tomorrow, and no matter what happens when it comes to the Texans, we're all in this together. Appreciate y'all for coming through.
Stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give. We got